That's what we were missing.
Yeah.
The crowd.
Yeah. The live
It's only
studio
appropriate.
audience.
It's only appropriate. No, we got to keep that going. Welcome to the Inside BJJ podcast from the, not the new studio. We finally cleaned up the crack house and made it halfway presentable. Guys, it's good to have you here. Had a little hiccup, but I think we sorted it out.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We are live.
Yeah, I feel like Andrew kind of wants it to, he's like, you didn't include me in the rearrangement, and I want it to fail.
Yeah. Yeah, don't talk to your producer about, excuse me, junior producer about rearranging shit.
Yeah, because it's like...
What's it like?
It's like if you get to arrange the furniture at Kohl's, and then you go to Martha Stewart, and you're like, you should have consulted me when you rearranged your living room.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's not, You're the person at Kohl's. I'm Martha Stewart.
I really want to yes and you right now, but you should have consulted Martha.
I should have consulted Martha. But we got it up and running. I kind of like it. We got the big monitor going.
Yeah.
And we also have a new addition to the team now. We got John. We shamed him by shaming his hatred for likes and subscribes and people calling out for them into coming in and helping us with some producing in the backstage. So that's pretty rad.
Yeah. I've been demoted to intern. John is now the junior producer.
You see how easy that happens, dude? Hey, we're going to jump to a quick commercial from our sponsors, and then when we come back, we are going to be live with Riley Rogers from SALT. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found SALT Electrolytes. SALT targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Let's add Riley to the stage. Yes, hey, let's welcome Riley Rogers to Inside BJJ. What's going on, Riley?
Oh, how are you, fellas? Thanks for having me.
Man, it's great to have you on. We started chatting, I don't know, a few months back. You hit me up, and we started going back and forth, and you sent some samples out, and I was like, this is good. And then before I knew it, I was throwing the SALT logo up, and thank you for that, man. That's pretty awesome. And you got a great thing going. We love to support people who support the jiu-jitsu community. It's such a self-driven community. I love talking to people that are doing similar things, man. So it's a pleasure to have you on. Dude,
I'm so honored. It's been an awesome experience. You guys, I heard you teasing me on the last episode, so I showed up in my gi today.
Hey.
He's real training.
So first of all, before we get into all of the story and talk about what you're doing with SALT, let's talk about the commercial, because I think there's something in the commercial where the dude taps the black belt dude and then gets promoted in the commercial. Is that, or does he get promoted then he taps the black belt?
We'd have to watch it again and find out. I don't know.
Oh, dude, you are very well played. Okay, I'm going to bring it up again. I want everyone
so watch close in the commercial, because this guy goes through all of his promotions, right? And the actor who gets his purple belt 3 days before that really got his purple belt. So this was
okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll see him doing laundry too, which is a big part of jiu-jitsu, we found out.
Let's watch it one more time. Here we go.
Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in SALT Electrolytes. SALT targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
At a blue belt, I'm wildly colorblind, so in the end,
I saw him tap a purple belt, right?
that's what it was.
Yeah.
My reptile brain saw the promotion where the black belt promotes him, and then I see the guys rolling, and he gets the tap, and I'm like, dang, he tapped the black belt out in the commercial. Wild, man. These guys went crazy.
You brought that up, and then as we just watched it, I did notice that he got his blue belt, and then there was a quick scene with the white belt back on again. So somewhere in the cut,
He got demoted. That's a little inside jab at the real jiu-jitsu, right? That's a little tease for jiu-jitsu culture later. Secret knowledge. Sometimes you could mess up and they'll make you put your white belt back on. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll pretend that's what that was. Yeah.
Just as a quick aside, I'm happy to do a SALT commercial for you guys if it earns me a purple belt.
Oh wow. That's just
Always
low
hustling
down.
for belts.
That's low down. There's no shortcuts, man.
Unless you do a SALT commercial.
You know, just for that, I think we should demote you. For like,
To like junior intern?
what we're gonna do is we're gonna tape a white stripe around your blue belt, and you're gonna be like a probation blue belt. And if you do good,
man.
then you could earn your regular blue back. If you do bad,
Back down to
then
white.
yeah,
I don't care.
and you gotta you gotta start from the beginning.
That means I can compete at white belt.
This is like Candyland. Yeah.
So we were real careful with that. The reason he only went to purple belt in the commercial is because he was only a purple belt.
Yeah.
Had we used a black belt for that, we might have taken him all the way through. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd have been all over Reddit. I'd have seen one of his posts like, this guy's a fake black belt.
Yeah. In a commercial
That's
with
right.
a black belt on.
I looked up his Instagram. He's only a purple.
I sent the IBJJF an email to notify them that he's sandbagging. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
yeah, it was funny because we actually scheduled the shoot of that to be after his purple belt date, just so we could get that second promotion in there. So
Nice. Yeah. That's a
That was
smart
rad.
move.
By the way, the commercial looks great. It looks like really
is really cool.
professionally done. I was really surprised.
is
Not
really
no
cool.
no
Yeah,
knock
man.
against you. It just you got a great team to make that commercial for you.
Yeah, I hired a guy that I've gone to church with for a lot of years, and he's awesome, man. That guy. That was one dude, one camera, and a few light bulbs,
Wow.
a fog machine. Yeah, super talented. It blew my mind what he came up with, because when I was there in the studio as he was filming all that, I couldn't imagine what it was going to turn out like, and that final product was great.
Let's talk about how you got into jiu-jitsu. I know that you were an athlete, you were into triathlons, you were somebody that appears to be getting after it quite a bit. And at some point, or I guess you were into running. I don't know if you were doing triathlons, but you were running. At some
both,
point,
yeah.
you got into jiu-jitsu. What was the catalyst to get you running? Because I guess that's something that people do, but running's like so hard.
Yeah.
It's so mentally grueling to run. Go for a run. Like, oh God, I'll see you guys in 97 minutes. You know what
Your brain does not want to do it.
I'll see you guys after you eat pizza. I'll see you guys later. And then how did you make the jump to jiu-jitsu?
So that came. Oh gosh, man, it seems like it's such a long story. But anyways, from running, I didn't start running until I was in my early 30s. And I was starting to get fat. I'm 5'11", and I was up to 240 pounds. And
Let's go.
Sick.
yeah, man, I was starting to show it in my face and just not feeling good. I was trying to chase a frisbee up about a 10-foot tall hill one day. And I about did me in. So I thought, man, I'm too young for this. So I started running just to shed some weight. And I kind of really began to like it. I didn't think that was possible. And then watching you guys shake your heads and going, running's hard. Jiu-jitsu's hard when you first start too, right? It gets easier as you go. So running's the same way. And yeah, I fell in love with that. And then triathlon became appealing just because it's another thing. It's got some other strategies to it. I like to swim. I like bicycles. So, started playing that game. I didn't do too much of that before jiu-jitsu got a hold of me. And that was, again, a guy from church who come in and says, hey man, we're teaching a self-defense class, is what he called it. My only experience with jiu-jitsu was hearing the words when Hoist Gracie fought back when I was in high school, right?
Yeah, right.
And I went in there thinking, yeah, I'm 5'11" at the time, 220 pounds. You know, I lost a little bit. I can hold my own was my thought. And man, I found out pretty quick. Not only can I not hold my own, but I felt like a 6-year-old wrestling with his dad. You know, the thought that another human being could control me that way was awe-inspiring. I just went, I've got to learn that. That feels like magic. And that was it, man. I had the bug.
It's interesting that you got invited from somebody from church. In my Stockton gym, I have a student there who runs a similar program in his church, and it's just like self-defense, and it's kind of like combatives, almost like Gracie combatives.
That's exactly what we did. We did Gracie combatives. Yeah.
So I inherited a student from church jiu-jitsu, right? And it's really funny because the student says like his mom wanted him to do it. He wanted to take martial arts, and his mom's like, the church has martial arts. And he's like, I don't want to do church karate. Like, this is what he told his mom. He's like, nobody wants their karate school to be in church, you know? But it was jiu-jitsu, and he just kind of begrudgingly started going, and then he really liked it. And he more or less did combatives for the first 3 years of all of his training. And then when he started training with me, he was so fundamentally good at all of the basic jiu-jitsu movements and ideas that everything else came super duper fast. I was really impressed with it. So I think
really
church
cool.
jiu-jitsu is the way to go. If you're going to start, find it at a local church. It's probably less expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was free, man. We had a
Can't beat that.
Kajukenbo gym in town that was letting us use their stuff, their space at like 4:30 in the morning. So we'd go over there and beat each other up. And in fact, I just got beat up. How's that? We'll put it that way. I got beat up for about 2 years.
Oh man, I just jacked my camera. What was the hook for you? And what I mean is like when you're running, say you're long distance running, and you know, I would run. I never ran very far. I think maybe I could get 5 miles in, and I'm like, oh, my hips. But I had to play mind games on myself just to keep kind of moving through the process and not give up. Did you have like little mental tricks that you played on yourself to keep you going? Because when you're doing triathlons, it's grueling. Like the thought to quit must cross your mind
So
at some
rough.
point.
You know, there's a weird thing that happens, man, when it usually happens for me around that 5 mile point where it all changes. The heart rate, the rhythm of breathing, all that stuff becomes kind of normalized, right? And so you just start feeling good. They call it a second wind, right? But you know, I get 45 minutes to an hour in, and then all of a sudden everything just starts feeling great. Those endorphins kick in, and it doesn't hurt anymore. And so now you're just cruising.
Do you experience that same thing when you're training? Like say you're going to do a 10-round Tuesday and you're like, I'm going to do all 10 rounds. At some point, like the first couple rounds for me are always the hardest rounds. Because the lungs and the heart and the muscles are like, dude, again, like what? We're doing this again. And by the 5th or 6th round, it's like, okay, all right, I'll get into gear and I'll do it for you. You know,
it's exactly the same feeling. Yeah. Exactly the same, because those 5th and 6th rounds aren't as hard as the 1st and 2nd, especially that dang first round. That thing's brutal.
Yeah, well,
especially at my age.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Is you got these guys that are like, 22 years old, and they show up and they say want to roll light, and then it's basically World War IV, going on the mats, and then they want to go with you next round. And for them, that was a proper warm up. Like they're ready to go. For me,
yeah, I had that this morning, man. Shout out to my buddy Marshall.
What did Marshall do?
Marshall's 23, 24 years old. He's a savage, good purple belt. Just one of those Energizer bunnies that just never stops, has no end to his gas tank. And I just fend him off for as long as I can. It's a battle. But yeah, I told him I was going to be on your podcast today and it was going to be videoed, but then he decided to kneel his shin right across my eye.
Of course.
So you know how it goes. So we love Marshall, though. He's a stud.
You can't tell your jiu-jitsu boys anything. I think this is also a secret knowledge thing. If you go, hey, guys, my girlfriend's going to come in and watch class, then it's like, oh, dude, they're gonna mollywop you now. If you
Yeah, I
say
don't roll
like,
with guys if a girlfriend's present. Forget it.
if my
That's-
grandma's coming, if you know, I'm gonna be on a video broadcast later, oh, we gotta jack him up then.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, it's basically you're green lighting yourself in the jiu-jitsu world.
Putting a
Yeah, I should
target
have just
on your
been
back.
quiet, huh?
Yeah, you just tell them like, beat me up tonight, then they'll all lay off.
I'm
Ugh.
going to show your grandma the man she should have married.
So you get into jiu-jitsu. What year are we talking about when this happens?
Gosh, it was 9 years ago, almost 10. Did my first competition in 15, early 15, so it would have been late 14.
So what's the hot thing? Like, okay, so let me ask you this: when you got into jiu-jitsu, were the guys you were training with following what's going on in the sport?
Not even a little bit, man. One of them had the Gracie Combatives video series,
Yeah,
and that was all we had. And he's the guy who had it, so the other two of us
Yeah.
just kind of got to listen to him. And he was a solid blue belt, but it was. And our other guy was the typical, you hear it, D1 wrestler that come into jiu-jitsu, but he had been training with jiu-jitsu guys off and on for 13 years or something by the
see.
time I started,
right. So,
So he was a
had some
savage.
prior experience. Yeah.
Oh
Right,
yeah.
right, right.
He just tuned me up. Still tunes me up today. It's like he's
At,
a
at
tough
what
dude.
point? At what point did you start to immerse yourself in the jiu-jitsu culture enough that you were kind of paying attention to what was happening in the competitive side of it?
I'm not going to pretend I really pay attention deeply to the competitive side of it.
That's
I do
everybody,
jiu-jitsu.
basically.
Yeah, we always keep up on the big guys, the big names, but if you told me I had to sit and watch an entire ADCC, I probably just that wouldn't be something I look forward to. But those highlight matches, or going through and looking at the highlights of
Yeah.
matches, that's fun to do.
Yeah.
CJI was fun. That was just a different format.
It was easier to consume as a person. It was still long. It was 9 hours the first day, but it was still in a linear order. You weren't missing matches. Like ADCC is hard because even when it's finals, you run the risk of missing a match, which is insane.
Yeah, for real.
So
Yeah, that's a
I feel
tough
you.
one, and that makes it kind of, you feel like you're missing out on the progress of everything, and
Yeah,
it
it's
makes
harder
it
to
harder
follow.
to stay engaged. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you.
But the thing that really attached me to jiu-jitsu was, I'm a guy who I think like an engineer, and I wanted to know why things work. And I'd hear guys use phrases like, you have to take advantage of the design of a joint. And I'm going, well, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. The human body is very complex. How do you take advantage of a joint? Well, an arm bar makes sense, but how do you properly do a kimura? The shoulder moves all kinds of different ways, right? And so at the beginning of that was kind of the challenge for me, was like, I've got to figure this out. I got to understand what these guys are talking about when they say things like, leverage and angles, because I feel it when someone else does it to me, but I can't replicate it. I don't understand at all. So it's been just a pursuit of that. And through that, then following other grapplers and seeing how they do things, and, gi and no gi. You guys tease me about being a gi athlete, but I train about 40% of my trainings in no gi.
See, I knew it.
This is kind of the way we roll in our
I
gym.
knew it.
All roads lead back to no.
Which,
gi.
just so you know, I got to take this off because it's stinking hot.
Well.
So, anyhow, we that's it for me. It's just that I go total nerd. They call me the mad scientist in my school, because I'll just dive into a subject that, I spent the last 6 months doing just crucifix position, and that's it. Really pouring into that.
Man, the first time you get a crucifix, you feel like a super being, Like,
Yeah.
oh man, it's so sweet.
Yeah, but then you start finding everyone knows how to escape it, right? And
Right.
what are the little things I'm doing that's letting them out? And man, as I've started to put the package together on that, it gets funner, man.
Yeah, the consistency to a crucifix is really top where it's at. It's so hard to like get there and then retain it for
Control
a
it,
long time.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and there's just a couple little details I found that just totally change how you can control that. And it's become something that I always tell people it became something that was mildly annoying when I do it to people to they've got about 90% chance of getting submitted at this point. It's gotten a lot better, but it just was intense focus for a long time.
I will spill the beans. What kind of what kind of tips and
He's
tricks
all
you got?
BJJ fanatics.
I'm trying
Coming
to hold
soon.
crucifixes out here.
You have to have a
So if
Salt
you watch my
Deluxe
Salt channel,
subscription.
I'm
Yeah.
going through it right
there
now.
it is.
Yeah, on my Salt channel, I drop little videos that show little details that I call it
Sweet.
add a little salt to your game,
Hey,
and
I
I'll
like
just
that.
put these little shorts on there. Have you seen those, Tim?
No, but that's a great idea. I'm going to watch them now.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, and
Do you put them on your Instagram?
I do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
put 'em
I've
on
seen. I've
Instagram.
seen those. Yeah,
Yeah, we post them on on the YouTube and the
on your
Facebook and all
socials.
those places.
Yeah.
I just do that because it's fun, and it's me and my son that do it. And so when I'm old and gray and can't grapple anymore, he's going to be watching those videos.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man. I really enjoy doing it. But some of those details are on there. So probably the most profound one, Omar, to answer your question, was just staying curled up and keeping pressure near the armpits. What we want to do is we want to stretch guys out and get those arms real wide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's how the elbow then can pop out and drop to the mat, and then they're gone. But if you just curl yourself up and keep a femur right up in their armpit, and then keep your other Kimura grip or whatever you have up into that other armpit, it's good luck getting those elbows out, man.
It's a great tip. I'm gonna look
He's
for
all,
that.
I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll give you one more. If you just take the hard part between your bicep and your shoulder and you wedge it behind their neck, drive that
Okay.
shoulder in the back of their neck, they
Yeah.
have a hard time pushing up over top of you too. So you can really create a lot of pressure on that ability to drive. So
Perfect. Oh yeah.
I thought he was going to goof on you and go, you grab your lapel and you pull it across like this. And he's like, what's a lapel?
Yeah.
Hey, where does salt come into the picture? Like, when do you start thinking about it? And I'm really fascinated with taking things that are ideas in our head and turning them into actual real things that exist in real life. Can you just talk about that process for you and when you decided, like, this is actually something I'm going to do?
Yeah, man. So the very beginnings of it, I was on a training run, training for a half marathon. I was on the longest run of my training, which was 12 miles. So a half marathon is 13.1. I would usually train up to 12 and then just do a little more on the next, on the actual race day. Full of adrenaline. I'm all excited. So that extra mile is not a big deal. But on this training run, it was an out and back. So, you asked earlier, what are one of the little things I used to psych myself up to run? Well, out and backs are great because I only have to run 6 miles and then it's just back home from there, right? It's almost like I got it all out of the way and it feels like half the distance, but I'm still going 12. But at the turnaround, there was supposed to be a water stop, and it was just a drinking fountain at a little restroom that was supposed to be there. And when we got there, the water was shut off to the building.
Oh, great.
Well, I'm already out of water. I've been out of water for about 3 miles, and I know it's 4.5 miles back to the next water stop. And it was a fairly warm day, probably 75 degrees. And man, I got so dehydrated. I was still about 2.5 miles from the water stop. And I realized that I wasn't sweating. I felt a tickle and I reached up and I just got dry salt, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And within 2 minutes of that, I was ready to throw up, could barely walked very slowly all the way back to the next water stop, and by then it was just too late. I was screwed up. So bad that I couldn't even do the race that I was geared up to do the following weekend. It took me about 4 months to recover from.
Whoa.
It might have even been longer. It might have been 6 months. It was a long time, but I was just foggy headed, just messed up, kind of had that heat stroke kind of feel. So that was my first experience with real dehydration. It was scary. It really messed me up for a long time. And then when I got into Jiu-Jitsu, the school I was training at, I started in 2018 at that school. And man, 2020 comes around, COVID shutdown happens. You know, at the time I was 41 and my goal was I want to get black belt by the time I turn 50, if it's possible. And COVID hits, it shut everything down. And I kind of realized like this could happen again. And that's going to really hinder my progress to getting to black belt.
How am I going to? Yeah, right. I feel you.
So I started double timing it, man. I started coming in, you know, doing 10, 12, 14 classes a week, just really pressing it. And, you know, I sweat. I'm a heavy sweater, man. And so I'd go in there.
Thank you.
I would do these classes, and in a 2-hour session, I'd lose 7 to 9 pounds. Well, I do that in the morning, then I'd come back in the evening, do it again. And so I just couldn't hydrate between those. And we had a visiting student one day that just said, "Hey man, you should try some electrolytes." And I had been feeling pretty, again, those feelings like I got when I got dehydrated back when I was running started to come back, you know, just real foggy headed, having a hard time making decisions at work. It was affecting other things in life. And so when he said that, I went ahead and bought some brand names that were on the market. And then as the mad scientist part of me come out and said, you know, what are electrolytes? What do they do? How do they work? And do these products have the right stuff in them? And took me down a rabbit hole. And man, when I got in there, I learned about counterpart electrolytes and how they, like sodium and potassium, one without the other doesn't really do its job. You have to have them both. And, you know, calcium, magnesium, they're counterparts. You have to have both of those. You know, we talk about if you take in magnesium, but you don't have calcium with it, then it has to find that somewhere else in your body. Right. And so those counterparts, we wanted them both in our drink. And then in the data that I was reading, all the white paper studies and just real nerd documents, I found that iodine was something that athletes were just notoriously deficient in, to the point where they're having thyroid issues. And you know, that leads to all those things we were talking about also, you know, foggy headedness, lethargic, just that feel. So I wanted iodine in there, but through more study, I found out you can't absorb iodine without zinc present. So there's the zinc. We stuck that in there. So it was building this formula came from that, you know. And then when I started drinking my own stuff that I was making at home with this formula electrolyte, I was just mixing it with Kool-Aid at the time because I just didn't know anything, man. I was like, I don't know how to make a flavor. I'll just mix it here. And I was feeding it to guys down at the gym, and they started feeling the effects of it. And they're like, man, you know, you should do something with this.
What kind
At
of
first,
Kool-Aid is this again?
Yeah, this is Kool-Aid, man. And so I'm thinking, I probably should do something with this, but I don't even know where to start. You know, I've never been in the industry. My other business that I eat off of is I have a mobile oil change company, right, where I'm in automotive. And so it's a very different thing. It's still business, but it's very different. And so starting from scratch with zero knowledge of how to flavor a product, how to have it manufactured or do it myself, or how does this go? What are FDA rules? So, you know, how do I test it? And, you know, all this stuff. I had to answer all those questions and just start digging in. And it took me about 3 years to get the product flavored correctly. There's some weird things happen, man. And you get, you know, lemon lime flavor. You guys have tried that, right?
Yeah.
Tastes like lemon lime. However, the extract, the fruit extract that we use by itself doesn't taste anything like lemon lime. It's somewhere in the kind of burn tires arena. It's horrible. So, and all it is the oils that come off the fruit. So, you know, we have to balance that with sweet and acid and, you know, these other things to make it taste again like lemon lime. And it took forever. That flavor in particular was the hardest one by far.
Were there any particular versions of that flavor that still stand out to you that you were like, man, this is putrid? Like, this is terrible.
Oh yeah.
Here, honey,
no,
try
the first like 10 of them. But the first one I had, that's what it was. I took a drink of that and had to spit it out. I could not stomach it. I was like, because I didn't know how much of this stuff even to use. Right?
Yeah.
You take it out and a little of those oils go a long way. I didn't know. I put a bunch in there, and so I got this like ultra powerful, non-balanced, just straight extract dose, and it was horrifying. And my family still laughs at me because they were standing there when I did it, and I was the first guinea pig. And yeah,
They're like, "Great job, Dad."
Couldn't
Dad's
even keep it in,
weird
man.
drink company. Yeah.
yeah.
What's your dad doing in the kitchen?
My wife, she looks at me kind of going, "Oh, great, this isn't going to turn out well."
What was the first flavor that you? Was it lemon lime, or was there another flavor that was a little easier?
So I started with these first 4 actually. They
Okay.
I spent all my time on those 4. Now I've got a few more in development now. They're coming along quicker than the other ones did because I'm better at it now. But the yeah, those first 4 that you have in the box there that's
Got
what I
it.
started with,
Got it.
and I just did those because they all sounded good to me.
Yeah, that's strawberry, mango,
Mango rules.
lemon lime, and raspberry.
Raspberry.
Yeah,
Raspberry.
yeah, those are good.
Yeah, so
I
don't
like
tell
lemon
anyone.
lime a lot.
I like the mango a lot.
Dude,
Mango.
I'll take mango. My wife likes the strawberry, but I go for all the lemon limes first. As soon as they come in, I'm like, boop, 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 I'm taking these.
So just an inside trick here, since it's inside BJJ.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Take 2 lemon limes and mix 1 strawberry or 1 raspberry in there. You get a strawberry lemonade.
Oh, there you go.
To be honest with you,
Legit.
mixing them didn't even cross my mind. Now I'm
Yeah,
going to do
I
that.
know.
Andrew, did you say you like the mango?
Love it.
Yeah, man, try that with strawberry. Mix just 1 and 1.
Okay.
Strawberry mango.
Noted.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah,
do
they
that.
pop
Yeah.
for
I'm
some
going to do
reason.
that tonight.
I'm getting thirsty right now. I'm like,
Yeah, but if you don't tell anyone, we've got some other flavors in the mix that yeah, I actually will keep that a little bit quiet. You guys are gonna have to hang on to that for a little while, but
Dang.
Okay.
we've
I
got
would love
3
to
of
know.
them that I'm super excited about.
I'll tell you
They're
one thing.
making-
I want to ask Santa for pomegranate.
pomegranate.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Pomegranate.
I'm a pommy man.
why don't each of us elect a flavor? We'll just throw them out.
Mine's
a
palm.
guess. If you could have it, it would be pomegranate.
For me, I would love pomegranate. dude.
pomegranate.
Yeah.
What about you, Omar?
Man, I'd love to try that Kool-Aid stuff.
No,
Private
no, you wouldn't, man. Salty Kool-Aid does not fly. I'm just telling you, it wasn't good.
Oh man.
So pomegranate. I'm taking notes here, man.
Hell yeah.
Maybe like a kiwi.
Oh,
Kiwi would be a good one.
Kiwi.
Kiwi be good.
Kiwi, huh?
I think I would like a very sour, like blood orange, or maybe, well, that's a little on the sweet side. Maybe pineapple, something
Oh,
in that
pineapple would
range.
be a good one.
Yeah.
See, with pomegranate, I was thinking tart. Really
Tart,
tart. That's why I
yeah.
was thinking pomegranate. Do you think you can make a flavor
I've
that
been messing with a green apple.
Ooh, I
Granny
like
Smith?
it.
That's a little tart.
Pretty good. I haven't done much development on that one yet, so I haven't got it great yet. But
That's
It's-
great.
Do you
it's
think you
pretty
can make one that tastes like your coach is proud of you?
No, because that flavor doesn't exist,
Damn it.
Andrew.
Damn it.
That's only exists in the movies. Yeah. Good try though.
shoot, are you
Strike
the
two.
coach, Tim?
Yes, sir. I am.
Dang, that's harsh words right there, man.
It's
Yeah.
the only way he speaks to me.
I only hurt the ones I love, and that's just how it has to be.
He only talks to him like that because he can't do anything on the mats.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's how it goes for a while, right?
Let's talk about some of the challenges of bringing a food product to the market. That seems incredibly difficult. Like when you were making manufacturing decisions, was your first impulse to be like, I'm just gonna create a clean room or a kitchen area and just make this myself, or was your instinct
Yeah.
like, no, wow? And
Yeah,
did
man,
you
that
do
was
it
the
that way?
thought.
That was the
lasted
thought.
About 6 minutes, but that was the thought. No, it's insanely difficult to do it yourself and to be able to follow all the FDA guidelines
Right.
and do it yourself it's not impossible, but it's next to it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So we developed the flavor, developed the actual formula and that, and then I elected pretty quickly just to have a contract manufacturer build my formula. But I did find out, you talk about challenges. When I first sent my formula with the non-disclosure form and everything over to the manufacturer, I I had them build me some samples and then send it back. Are you guys all still there? I just lost you on video.
Yeah, no, we got you. We're
Okay.
just featuring you on the screen is all.
All right. Hey everyone. Um, we so I send my formula over to the manufacturer and have them build me these samples, and they send me back these samples, and I'm tasting it and I'm going, man, this doesn't taste anything like my drink. And then they send me over the spec sheet for what they built, and it was not my drink. It just wasn't even close. It was totally different ingredients. They had this ingredient in there that's a non-disclosed thing. It's like a proprietary substance that's called a salt masker, and it tricks your taste buds into not being able to taste salt. And they thought for some reason that I would want that. I was super particular about it being, natural flavors, meaning fruit
Yeah.
extract. I wanted no color. I wanted no artificial flavors. I wanted it to have a real clean feel in your mouth, so runners and triathletes wouldn't get that film of that phlegm that builds up because it
Yeah.
makes it hard to
Oh,
breathe, man. It's
yeah.
miserable.
That's why I hated Gatorade so much. 'Cause it
Yeah,
was
that
just
stickiness, right?
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, and I don't even remember which drinks they are specifically, but there are drinks that if you drink them and then you train, it's just foul, man.
Yeah.
You get cotton mouth, right? You just kind of got, it's
It
gross.
makes it hard to swallow. It feels,
Yeah. So that was something that was important to me. Well, this drink that they sent me back wasn't any of those. It was terrible.
They just decided to like replace the ingredients, or
No, so here's what happened is when I sent my email over to the sales rep didn't send the memo over to the formula department that mixes it up and tell them that I had my own formula. So this is kind of a dark inside secret of the manufacturing industry, is that most companies like ours will just send over and say, hey, I want an electrolyte drink.
right.
And that manufacturer will build that drink and then license it back to the company.
Right. It's
Okay.
like getting geese. You buy the ghee,
Like-
it's made on the same equipment that that the other
Yeah.
ghee stuff is made on. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get
the
it.
same machine, right? They're exactly,
Right.
it might even be the same die cut, right?
Show your roll guts.
um,
Yeah, I get it.
So this was something that I learned, the hard way. And so we had a come to Jesus meeting of, no, this isn't what we want. Sell that to somebody else, but this is our formula. And once they got that right, there was some back and forth to get things exactly right, but they nailed it. They finally got our formula with our ingredients that was perfect,
So, what is the challenge? Have you had to switch manufacturers?
No. That always a possibility, right? Somebody
Yeah.
drops the ball too many times, but yeah, so far so good.
What? So there's 3 flavors coming out. What has kind of the feedback been from your customers, and is there anything that has surprised you by it, like something that maybe they came up with that you didn't think about?
Yeah, so I told you guys about mixing these flavors.
Yeah.
Never occurred to me either. This was somebody else online messaged me one day and like, have you tried the strawberry mixed with the lemon lime? And I'm thinking, no, that never crossed my mind. I don't know why. That was someone else's idea.
That's like the
I,
same kid that like gets all the soda drinks at the fountain. They just
Yeah.
run through it.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do. All right.
Yeah. So our tagline, go earn your salt, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We that came from one of my teammates who were just on the mat one day and we're finishing up class and he had some good rounds and he's like, man, I earned my salt today. And just instantly I'm like, I own that now. So
You get a purple belt.
he's a
And
hero.
you get a
Shout out to
purple belt.
Albert, man.
That was one of your
That
students,
was-
you said?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's yours. Anything
call
that
him.
comes out of their mouth when they're on your mats, they sign the waiver. That's all your property.
Yeah,
All the
man.
good
I've
stuff.
rewarded Albert. He's got a bunch of salt and a bunch of merch. The man's decked out now, but
He's dripped.
it was so cool. It was just one of those things that, wasn't my idea. It just kind of come out and in conversation. I thought, man, that's exactly what I want. So
What is the big goal for you? Like at what point can you can you look at in the future and go, if we can do this, then we have done it. And I know creative things are never over, but there is a point you can get to with something to where you're like, okay, I did what I was trying to do, and maybe it's even bigger than what I thought it would be. But is there a place like that for you?
So it's already bigger than I thought, right? And it's still tiny, but I couldn't even imagine getting to the place where we're at today, which is crazy because we've only been on the market since last December, so it hasn't even been a full year yet. We're in 32 locations as of now, as far as dealers go. But you remember I told you I started from scratch and didn't know what I was doing?
Yeah.
I have no measuring stick, man. I don't know if that's good progress or bad progress. Feels good to me, but compared to someone else, it might be garbage. So I don't know what to expect, and so because there's no reference point there, it's very difficult for me to go, hey, I have this goal to get to this point, because I don't know what's possible. I do feel a bit blind in that, if I'm honest. And I'm excited for the progress. I'm getting to meet all kinds of cool people that I never thought I would. I got this rad experience. I got to spend 3 days on a fishing boat with Hoist Gracie.
Dude,
It was the coolest
tell us
thing.
about
Man.
that. That sounds pretty
Yeah,
dope.
it was just rad. It was just like, it was through a guy that I met on Instagram through SALT. He's one of my, he's a 5th degree black belt under Jean-Jacques Machado. Shout out to Dave Dunn. He's just connected me with a ton of people, and I've met a bunch through Instagram too. But yeah, I never thought that would be a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, just getting to sit. I was on a fishing expedition with 8 guys on a boat designed for 22 people. 6 of those guys were black belts. I'm the one brown belt, and then there was one guy who didn't train at all. But it was just the coolest experience, getting to go out there and spend time with a legend like that. And in my eyes, those guys are all legends, because I know what it takes to get a black belt. They're a bunch of killers on that boat. It was cool. It was a really neat experience.
There is something to seeing Hoist, though, because he's got almost mythical status from the UFC and from being one of the early pioneers, and kind of the name. Like the first UFC I saw, and I've said this a bunch of times, I did not like Hoist. I thought he was cheating. Thought he had ropes or cords or do acid on his hands. I thought we were going to find out that this dude was doing some trick that nobody knew. And I guess in a way he was, but it was a legitimate thing. Yeah. But the first time I went to a Hoist seminar, it was kind of like, whoa, that's Hoist Gracie. Like right there, dude, that's him.
I was trying hard not to like fangirl.
That's why I have a podcast. One of the original reasons I did it was so I would have an excuse to go up to Hoist and just ask him all the stuff I want to ask him. And I just do it under the guise of Inside BJJ. Like, it's all for me.
You're a thinker, man. I love it. But no, it was cool. I tried to really not bother him about all the stuff that he gets asked all the time. And it just, I wanted to not be annoying. How's that? Inside, I had all kinds of questions, but I got to know him as just a dude too. He's got some really cool stories about some, swims he's done across some bay down in Florida. I can't remember what it's called, but somebody just challenged him one day to go on this swim, and something, gosh, what did he tell me? 8 or 12 miles across this bay. And it was just kind of a one day, hey man, want to go do this? Said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And listen to his side of that and how hard that was, man.
Yeah.
It was a pretty cool deal. And then just, stories about him and his family and, growing up. I told him that I trained under Pedro Sauer, and he was so cool. He goes, yeah, Pedro was the first guy to ever choke me unconscious. And he was like, I think he said 13 or 14 years old. And, Pedro's Hickson's buddy and, 6, 7 years older. And so at that time that matters, right? And he put him to sleep.
Hoist has a certain a certain humility about his jiu-jitsu in relationship with the rest of his brothers and then everything else in the jiu-jitsu world. He's very, very, very good, but he doesn't act like he's never been choked out by Pedro Sauer. You know what I mean? Like he's just like,
No, and I thought that was
you
super
know,
cool.
he's super open
It's
about
something.
it.
Yeah, yeah, and just like it happens to all of us, man. You know,
Yeah.
we were training. He was a kid. I mean, great. He one of the things I asked him that I thought was fascinating was, do you guys remember when you first start jujitsu, what a purple belt felt like when you grapple with them?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the only guys in the gym that were teaching classes were purple belts when I started, and they murdered me.
It was like untouchable, right? Almost like
Yes.
we're not the same species, kind of a
Right.
thing. And I remember that feeling. But then as I progressed through, and I remember kind of realizing somewhere around middle of my brown belt, I'm like, purple belts don't feel like that anymore. Yeah, I still feel like they should, because that's what a purple belt in my mind is still saying, right?
Yeah, I know exactly
And
what you mean.
yeah, and so I asked him about that. I was like, how do you keep from creeping up, as far as the belt levels, as an instructor from that standpoint, not always constantly taking, you know, making it longer and harder, and a blue belt now, should at least give me a little bit of trouble. Well,
Right.
not really. As you
Yeah,
get better,
right.
right, Tim? You got 2 black belts and
Yeah.
maybe more, I don't know, but it's not
Just
very many blue belts are giving you trouble, right?
yeah, I have 2 more than Andrew will ever have. You'll get one. Maybe you can star in a SALT commercial, and they could give you one in the commercial.
Nah, Riley already said that.
Oh,
That's
that
why
won't
they-
fly.
It
that's
has
why
to
they
be
use the
real,
purple.
man.
That's
It has
right.
to be real.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Listen, God doesn't want you to have a black belt. I'm sorry.
Andrew, I believe in you, dude.
If you only knew.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to
Well,
sidetrack your story.
so I'm making this story really long, but basically what he told me was that it should creep up over time, right?
Oh,
He
interesting.
said, he told me just straight up, he says a high level competition blue belt or purple belt today would kick the black belt's butt back in the 90s when they were doing their
Yeah.
thing. And he wasn't shy about that at all. He just said, yeah, it should creep up. We have more information, more instruction. There's more brains in the game now. There's just so much more access to jujitsu and high quality jujitsu that, yeah, it should creep up, man. And man, that was profound to me. I thought, cool. Like hearing from a guy like that, it kind of saying that when he's back there winning the UFCs, there's guys with colored belts on that could have probably rivaled him at that time with his black belt, right?
Yeah, and I think it's harder to accept that when you're on the other side of your physical prime, because I would like to believe that as the state of the art grows, which it never stops growing, that I continue to go with its trajectory. But the reality is my trajectory was set a long time ago by the guys that I started with, and that kind of puts you on a path, and you could get better for sure. You could do doubles and get more information. But there's a certain point where it's like, unless you started when the art was at a high level, you're never going to be able to keep up with those guys that are 25 and competitive purple belts. They're going to continue to get better.
That's a fact.
And you're going to get better. You're just not going to get better at the rate that they're getting better. And that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And it's hard for me to sometimes believe it. When I watch his early fights and I watch some of the detail stuff that he's doing in those fights, I'm like, I don't know, man. He looks pretty dang good to me. There's some big dudes trying to take his head off, and yet there's some intricate stuff going on there that he's doing to them. That it's hard for me to think that.
Yeah,
guys
I think you're right. What would be interesting is if you could take a modern sports like purple belt and have them fight like chemo, and then see how the fight goes, or have them fight one of the guys that Hoyce fought back in that time, because we know like when the strikes are coming and the kicks are coming and there's headbutts then and there's, you know, it's a rough game. You could pull the other dude's hair. There's a lot of things that could happen, and your state of the art jiu-jitsu might not be rough and tumble enough to handle that. And I think Hoist definitely had that on his side.
Yeah, he's just that grit he had, man, because
Yeah.
he took some shots in there, and it was
Oh yeah, he did.
it was and just the pressure, but just to be able to deal with that. I mean, that's something I really saw in him too, is a different level of intensity than I see in normal people.
Yeah.
You know, he's out
would
there
agree
fighting a
with you.
tuna, and I'm watching some attitude coming out of him with a tuna. You know,
Yeah, right. Very competitive. Yeah.
oh, it was super cool. And so there's a champion mindset there too.
Yeah.
And you know, don't mishear me when I say any of this stuff. He's a different level mentally than most people are. You know, most of us are kind of, myself as who I'm talking about, kind of soft in that regard. You know, I think that guy's got a level of intensity that I only hope I had or wish I had.
Yeah, and I think if you consider the level of intensity of the folks that were in the room with him for most of his life, it makes sense. Like he's
Yeah,
tuned to
man.
that, you know what I mean? Like all those guys have a certain level of intensity to them that some Gracies are a little bit scary to be around because you don't know if they're gonna hug you or
stories,
slap
yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
No,
there's a
man, he
certain
was just a
intensity to it.
genuinely cool dude though. And
Yeah.
I was just so honored to get to spend time with him, and you know, I hope to see him again one day and maybe get to do something like that. But it was cool.
That is really neat. So what's up next for you, man? I know PGF is around the corner. Obviously, you've been a big fan of the PGF for a long time, right?
From the beginning.
From the very beginning, you got
Yeah,
into
I
it.
watched #1 and I was like,
What?
you know,
How did you get into it?
so I was my sister-in-law lives about 30 minutes from McCatherine's school.
Oh.
And so I was down there one day. I didn't really realize what I was getting into. I was down there. I wanted to grapple, and I called him up and or I emailed him, but he answered my email and said, "Yeah, come on down." And I went over and trained with those guys. Just had a great experience. And you know, I'd seen a little bit of his YouTube stuff, but not a lot. But when I was in his school, I was like, "Man, this guy's a good teacher." Right? He's not just a YouTube guy with a following. He understands how to explain details. And you know, in my school, my instructor Keith Owen.
Oh,
Keith
wait, whoa.
passed-
Let me jump back in here. Hold on. Keith Owen is a name I have not heard in a minute.
Yeah, man, that's
That
my
is
guy.
pretty freaking cool, dude.
So I don't know if you know this, he passed away 2 years ago.
I did not even know that, man.
Yeah, he's gosh, it's almost been 3 now.
Keith was a guy that he had a lot of videos and a lot of stuff
Yeah.
out there, man. A lot. And it was very technical. I think some people criticized him, but I always thought his stuff was super dope. I thought it was
Well,
great.
anytime you make a splash anywhere, people are going to criticize you, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
but Keith was a genuinely cool dude, and he just had this way of, you know how difficult it is to explain a concept as intricate as jiu-jitsu can be to different levels of people, right? When you're sitting in a room and you've got white belts and black belts in the same room, the stuff you can tell a black belt is very different than the detail you can give to
Sure.
a white belt. And he could do that. He could just find these ways to do it. And I saw that in McCatherine. I'm like, holy crap, man, this guy has got a lot of this same stuff. So then when I got back and had been, you know, away from there for a while, I started kind of just paying attention to what he was doing on YouTube. And man, that's when I caught on to the PGF, and it was just, you know, him and his guys in his school doing his thing. And I thought the concept of the event was really cool. I liked that they started out there at the school, and it was just, you know, it sounded like a few local guys. It wasn't just his school, but
Yeah.
pretty much it was kind of a grassroots sort of a thing, but it was just fun to watch, you know, just watching guys score points, cumulative over the 4 or 5 days, and the getting to see guys over and over again. And so by the time of the end of it, you kind of got your favorites. It's like, man, I can't wait till this guy comes back out. And it was a jiu-jitsu event I could watch and just be excited for the whole thing, sit at home all day watching this thing and really enjoy myself.
Do you have a favorite season so far outside of season 6? I feel like season 6 is too easy to say because it was like the
Kind of
most
the crown
produced
jewel.
one so far. Yeah.
Yeah, season 6 was special for sure. I don't know, man. I felt like number 1 was so cool because it made me just sit and anticipate the next one, right? And at the time, I don't know if it'd be kind of interesting to go back and listen to it and see if he had the second one planned out yet. I don't remember that, if he even did, but maybe
Yeah, I'm not
know.
sure. I'm not positive. It came on my radar around season 3. And I don't know what year that was. Do you know what year he did season 3 in?
No, I don't.
It might have been after I moved to Nashville, but I know when I moved out here, he started going like, "Hey, you should come down for the season." And I was a maniac trying to set up a school and move my family, and I really wasn't paying that close of attention to it until season 5 ended. And then I started looking at it, and I got the invite to come to season 6, and then I was hooked. But that's interesting. So which season, was it season 3 or 4 where everyone stayed in the gym? Wasn't that a season where like they housed everybody at the gym?
It kind of seems like maybe the first 3 were at his school and maybe 4 was at a church, I believe. Didn't they move it to and I think they had 2, like 4 and 5 might have been in the church, and then 6 was Vegas, right?
What kind of jump up was it for you to see it go from season 1 to season 6?
Man, it's funny because you're talking to me like I had something to do with it. I'm just a YouTube watcher, right?
No, I mean, no,
But
it's
no,
interesting to see though. I mean, it's interesting for me to watch Brandon like talk about this idea and then do it, and it turns into this gigantic thing. But I wasn't even really paying that close attention in the beginning.
Well, you started feeling that momentum, in season 3, because there was one, I'm trying to remember which season it was, but seemed like they did the season in his gym, and then maybe they did the finale in the church. And the final match was like an hour and a half long.
Oh, wow.
Those 2 guys just went. And I think one of the things that really got my attention at that point was that I was engaged for the entire thing. A lot of times those super long matches, it's easy to kind of just zone off and, I'm gonna go do something while these guys finish this up and I'll watch it later. But man, it was exciting the whole time. And because of the anticipation of the prior days of watching these 2 guys build up into this finale, it was easy to stay engaged. And that was probably the moment where it clicked with me that this was going to be something, right? I thought, if they can make me watch an hour and a half long jiu-jitsu match,
right,
and be engaged the entire time, they're doing something right.
I think there's something to the stickability of the story when you're watching it develop. Like, these athletes show up and they all have their individual stories, but then as they get drafted onto teams, the team starts to develop a story that you just don't have in the rest of the combat, jiu-jitsu, submission grappling world. It's all just this guy versus that guy. And even the quintet events are just, it's like a one and done and they're out. It doesn't build over multiple days. It doesn't have that drama or that thread.
This quintet's cool too, man. Don't get me wrong, but I can't engage with it quite the same as I do with PGF. Right.
PGF 3, by the way, was all the way back in 2022.
Okay. Real quick, if you're on the Instagram stream, the 1 hour limit is going to jump up just a second. You got to jump over to the YouTube to check the rest of it out. YouTube inside BJJ. Let's go. You know how to do it. You know how to work YouTubes. Okay. So season 3, season 4, season 6 is in Las Vegas, and the whole production is changed. It's a dramatic.
Yeah, now you have coaches, right? You separate teams instead of just individuals. Which I think 6 was the first time they did that, right?
I think Zoltan was a coach in season 5. I think they did an auction in season 5, and I think they might have had coaches in season 4.
Okay. I thought that was a cool thing, especially the names he brought in for the coaches. I'm thinking, holy crap, man.
What did you think about this year's coaches? Have you had a chance to look at those?
Well, no, but I saw Pedro Sauer pop up on there, which
Yeah.
that's the lineage I'm under, right? Keith Owen was a 4th degree under Pedro. So my brown belt actually came from Pedro.
That's awesome.
So I'm totally geeking out on that. I'm excited
Pedro
to see him in there.
Sauer. I think the returning coaches are Dean Lister and Hodger Gracie. And then the new coaches are Pedro Sauer and Carlos Machado. So now we're getting a chance to see another Machado brother.
Hodger's been announced too.
Yeah, Hodger and Dean are coming back. By the way, Dean was a fantastic coach. Top of the line coach, man. I was super impressed with Dean Lister's coaching. He did something that really resonated with me. He gave all the athletes a piece of paper and an envelope on the first day, and he said, before our first practice, I want you to write down all the stuff that's on your mind, all the problems you have, all the things at home that are bugging you, everything that's like driving you crazy. Write it down, put it in this envelope, and I'm going to hold it for the next 5 days. You don't get to think about it, and then I'll give it back to you at the end, and you could pick it up again. And they did it,
rad.
and I thought that was a great way to set the mood for the team and also to earn the trust of the team and build a connection with the guys. It was just a real fantastic move. In all the matches, Dean was mat side coaching, and to be honest, there's one particular thing he was saying on how to defend and get out of a particular choke, and I've been doing it because I saw him coach a guy through it, and I'm like, oh, that works.
Tell, man, what is it?
Well, it's not rocket science. He's just like, hey, if someone's trying to choke you and you're on the choking arm, just keep looking up and looking in, and as long as you're looking up and in, they can't choke you. And he's right. He's right. But he also said you don't have to tap to an arm bar because it'll just pop the little capsule in your elbow and you'll be fine in 6 weeks. So you got to take it with
maybe
a
if
grain
you're going
of
to win
salt,
a bunch of money,
my friend.
that's okay. But so that choke defense you're talking about, and I wonder if you learned it from there. But buddy of mine, Jake Blanchard, he's another brown belt I train with, and he mentioned that to me. Gosh, probably a year and a half ago. Just turn and look him in the eye, man. Just look him in the eye.
Keep looking at him.
That rear naked choke, it shuts it down for the most part, unless they're in super deep, you're kind of screwed anyways. But if you just turn and look them in the eye, you're out of it most of the time. It's just really hard for them to get the right angle after that.
They'll catch you if they're on the trachea, and they just they'll get you to that.
They can get the jaw too, right? There's other things that can happen there.
I feel like over the years, the acceptable jawline was here originally, like right here.
Just keeps moving.
And
up.
then as beards got more popular,
Yeah.
the jawline started moving up. And now it's like you can choke
right across
someone
the
here.
teeth, right?
Yeah. It's not cool, man. Not
Seemed
a
like
fan
I saw
of it.
one. I don't remember what event it was, but it was like right under the bridge of the nose, man. Like I just right on his upper teeth. And
I mean,
oh,
I'm okay if you want to rake the nose to expose the neck. If you take the neck, I'm not okay with taking the face. I just think, and then you're going to complain because I bite you. Well, what am I supposed to do? You're jamming your forearm in my mouth. I'm trying to breathe.
I don't know, man. I think in those submission only tournaments, probably some things are going to fly that wouldn't fly in training, right?
Yeah.
There's I was
My
talking
other
to
pet
somebody
peeve
here
is
recently.
the muffler. I hate it when people muffle. They just put their hand
That's
over
getting
your...
popular, man. A lot
I
of guys
love it.
doing that.
It's an epidemic at PGF Season 6. Jet
Yeah.
Thompson put his germy little ass hand on everybody's mouth, dude. It's like, you get one. You get a muffle. You get a muffle. You get a muffle.
Yeah.
And then one of our second-degree black belts at my school decided to put a video out on YouTube showing the proper way to do that. And he likes to come up here and smear the nose down so it closes it as it comes down over top of it. And I was like, man, it's a jerk move to begin with, and now you just doubled it.
Yeah. That is, I agree. And it's like, dude, I don't know. It's already grimy enough. I don't want your hand on my face.
Yeah, because
I just don't want it on
pulls
my
your lip
face.
down, right?
Yeah, it's just like, dude, it's gross.
I know what I'm
Yeah.
going to do to you next time we roll.
I
That black belt comment.
I swear I'm gonna bite you. You're gonna pull
Good.
back. You're gonna pull back 4 fingers, and then one's just gonna be a bloody nub. Hey, man, that's that's the rules of the streets, dude. I love you. I would
The
never do that. I'm
streets, fool.
very gentle with Andrew. I take a lot of abuse at his hands, and he dishes it out. This is a guy who's got some size on him. Guess what his favorite position is? Kesagatami. Oh, I wonder
Oh, that's
why.
fun.
Yeah.
To be fair, I like bottom side. It just leads there.
Oh yeah, because you can turn people over
Yeah,
and then crush them.
I can decide to not be in bottom side anymore, which is great.
Decide. I have decided to get out. Yeah. So, Riley, it was great catching up with you, man. Can you tell our listeners where they could learn more about you and about SALT Electrolytes?
Yeah, we are SALT Electrolytes on everything. Our website is goearnyoursalt.com. That's our Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. But we spend most of our time on Instagram by far. So
Make sure you check them out. And, dude, I think it's great because in the jiu-jitsu world, man, I would say almost everything you see right now is self-started and self-driven and self-pushed. It's just grassroots the whole way. And I have a big, big place in my heart for that. I think that's an awesome way to do it. Jiu-jitsu is an amazing martial art, and people are so passionate about it. And I know SALT Electrolytes is for all athletes. It's not just for combat athletes. But as a man who can identify with another man such as yourself, Riley, who is a heavy sweater, I am a level 9,000 warlord sweater when it comes. I identify with losing 7 pounds in a session.
Dude, puddles.
One
they
of
put the wet floor sign right
Oh,
next to you
yeah.
when you're
dude.
grappling.
It's
Yeah.
embarrassing.
We
It's-
know when I clean the mats, or when any of us clean the mats, we know where Tim and his 2 sons are rolling.
It's insulting, and I'm going to tell you why.
Insulting.
Insulting,
Nailed
yeah. Because I have students who come up to me and they go, I want to roll with you the first round because if you're sweaty, you can get away from me. As if I can't get away from them when I'm dry.
You pull some fast ones
So
on me. When
you
you're
know what
wet.
I do? I turn it on them double time when I'm dry. I make them regret rolling with me dry.
Yeah. So you get wetter
Listen,
faster.
it's a little off topic, but just a pro tip for people who are new at jiu-jitsu. Always start when everyone else starts, and you won't be grossed out by the sweat.
Yeah,
But
don't
if
come
you start
late.
3 rounds deep,
Oh,
good freaking luck.
especially it's like jumping in a pool. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta get in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
yeah,
tell people,
man.
you ready to get baptized, bro? Come in. I can't help it. We're not doing, arts and crafts. We're fighting, dude.
Yeah.
And when I fight, I sweat. My body's a machine, dog.
You want to know what? When I first started, you made me feel a lot more comfortable because I was like, man, I sweat a lot. I hope I don't gross people out. And I was like, oh, if they roll with Tim, they're not going to be worried.
You know what? I'm going to say this on behalf of Riley and I.
Okay.
They not like us, Riley. They don't get it. They don't have
Right.
fine-tuned. They're driving Volkswagens. We're driving Ferraris.
That's
It's just-
right. I'll take
that-
that.
That's the body that we got. We got Ferraris, dog.
Ferrari Hot Wheels.
Tim, do you ever purposely move off to the side of mount a little bit if you're grappling with someone you like, just so you don't drip in their eye?
Yeah, and I do a lot of courtesy head wipes,
That's fair. You
On
do
their
that.
well, you don't wipe it on their gi, do you?
No, but I have. I would totally. I used to wipe my forehead so much when I trained in the gi for a long time that
The
I
raw
just
spot.
made it raw, dude. My
Damn.
what's like, what are you doing? Like, what's
Get
going
a rash
on?
guard for your forehead. That's what you need.
Yeah, I need a sweatband. I need a do-rag that won't come off.
Oh, that's what you need.
I need a sweat do. It needs to be chamois material
Yeah.
and just tight. I could just pull it on and just like maybe. I don't want
Almost
anything
like a
that-
swim cap.
almost like
Like
a
a
swim.
swim
I'm going to
cap.
muffle you with your swim cap.
Dude, so there used to be this other guy who was a prolific sweater. His name was Lucas. He was at my Stockton gym. A great dude. He sweat so much that he would carry this yellow like chamois towel in his gi and he'd tuck it in there.
God.
When I discovered that he was doing that, I made a game out of, can I reach inside and get that out and throw it? And that basically every roll with him for me was me trying to get that chamois towel out and throw it and go like, oh, I got your towel. Like that was my tap. But
So
yeah,
you've reached another level and not worried about sweat if you're grabbing hold of that thing.
yeah, I don't care. I'd dry myself with it. Be like, wring it. Yeah, it's clean.
I got your towel.
It's a chamois. Okay, it was on TV. It's clean, dude.
I like to point out that you
Pull
have
it
a
out and
chamois
wash
a
his
foot
face
to your
with it.
right.
Yeah, I do have a. Speaking of it, look, I got one right here. is somebody who lives in the South now, who came from California that was really dry. It was hot, but it was dry. I basically have to carry a handkerchief with me most of the year.
Court ordered.
And because I'm bald, it doesn't help. You know what I mean? Like there's no hiding.
Yeah, nothing to absorb it, right?
No, man. And if you're sweating and you have your hat on and you take it off, it's just like a fountain comes down, like somebody just poured water. This wool cap just collects it all up there, like a
man.
like one of those water towers. It just
it's
cools
yucky.
my head off.
That's yucky.
Well, and you've been drinking our stuff, so you get that white line across there after a while, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
This
But to be
dusty salt
real,
line.
when I moved to Nashville, I was having intense headaches that first summer because I was not used to the humidity and I was basically operating dehydrated.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
realized like this is not good. Wasn't a super fan of the other drinks on the market because they're I'm saying this. They taste good because they're mostly sugar.
Yep.
Right.
When you actually look at it, you're like, dang, this is the same damn trick Jamba Juice played on me 20 years ago. I'm like, it's smoothies, it's fruit, it's
healthy.
natural, it tastes good. And then you're like, 7,000 grams of diabetes are in this drink. Like, they got to give you an insulin boost with it. You know, it's like, it's not great.
It's rough.
So when you hit me up, Riley, and you sent me some samples, I was sold immediately. I was like, yes.
Those first 2 boxes did not last long.
Well, I had a buddy who ran ultra marathons. Basically, he'd go on these giant 7-day runs in like the Mojave, in the Gobi, and they'd be out there forever. And he always talked about salt. He's like, if you're gonna drink water, you need to eat salt. You need to make sure you're like taking salt in your diet when it's in the summer and you're sweating a lot. Otherwise, all that water you're drinking, your body's passing most of it through and you're not getting the most out of it. Then that always resonated with me. So when you're like SALT Electrolytes, I'm like, oh my God, that's what Chuck Walker said. It's coming to life. This is it right in front of me. So I think it's a great
Man, I'm
idea.
super flattered by that because I tell you that was a thing when we were bringing it to market. Is I've put a lot of time and effort and kind of the heart into it. What are people going to think about it? So when I sent my first samples out to people I didn't know,
Yeah.
I mean, I was scared to death. I'm just like, gosh, I hope, I already had a ton of money wrapped up into it, and I just thought, oh crap, I hope people really like it, and I hope my homies down at the gym aren't just telling me they like it because they like me.
Gassing you up. Yeah.
So I don't know your homies, but I'm about to change my name to Andy Mangoes. Every time the box comes in, they're all mine, dude.
Andy Mangoes. That's your new
Andy
nickname.
Mango. He needs a new rash guard, Tim.
Dang,
Andy
man.
Mangoes.
Andy Mango.
Yeah, no,
Shoot.
I'm down with it. I think it's a great product. It's a big hit in our house. And you know what happens is when you get used to having the saltiness to it, and then if you drink another one, it really stands out, like how sweetened those other drinks are.
Oh yeah.
It's like, whoa, shit. Like, dang, man.
I had salt at training sometime last week, and I went to work, and they have a couple like liquid IVs or whatever at work. I took one of those. I was like, screw me, these are sweet. This is super
changes
sugary.
it. So, man, stoked to have you on, dude. Thank you for your support. It's awesome. I think you're doing great things, and I love hearing about your jiu-jitsu experience. I love the fact that you came in at church karate. That's what me and my homie always called it. It's so awesome, man. I love jiu-jitsu. I think it's a great positive thing for people. Yeah, there's some dookie heads in it, but that's all of life. They're everywhere. Andrew just pointed to himself.
Correct, man.
The best thing out of it is the community, in my opinion. I would give up the cool moves and all that stuff, even though that's really neat, if I could keep the friendships and the relationships and the community that I've come to build myself into here. So it's an awesome thing,
Well,
man.
I'll
and I'm
tell you,
glad you're
somebody
part of it.
asked me the other day, a new student in the school asked me the other day, if someone gave me $1 million, would I give up the memories I have out of jiu-jitsu? And I'm going, not a flipping chance.
There's
man.
no
There's
way,
just no
man.
way.
No.
It's been too good. So
Yeah,
I hear
I
you.
agree. Thanks so much to our listeners. Use the discount code INSIDEBJJ15. Save 15% at the checkout. If you haven't checked it out, do yourself a favor and check it out. Riley, thank you so much, man. I look forward to catching up with you soon, brother.
Thank you, guys. That was
Good
a
to
great
finally meet you,
experience,
man.
man.
Peace. Thanks,
Later, man.
man.
Yeah, good to meet you guys too, Omar
All right,
and Andrew.
brother. Have
Thanks,
a good
guys.
one.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Andrew, I don't like your attitude that
I
you
don't.
displayed on the show tonight.
I don't like my
With the
attitude
guest.
either, to be honest.
Yeah, man. Dude, I love hearing people's stories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love it when they tell, like, when the first time you drink it is the result of a bunch of energy and work and money and time and stress and sleepless nights
Yeah.
and
That one dude's doing in his kitchen.
people telling you you're crazy, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like, why are you doing this, dude? You know, what, you're going to make money off? Why don't you just keep your day job?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you remember what the freaking full oil lemon lime tasted like the first time you took it. And you're like, oh my God. And so you bring this product to the market and you send these samples out and you're like, what are they going to think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be nerve-wracking.
You almost have to send them one that says, like, taste this first. And it's the original formula. And they're like, oh, putrid. And you're like,
Contextualize it.
now check out how good it is now. This is a palate cleanser that's necessary. Dude, let's bang on the Reddit board. I see that you got a bunch of links going for
I
Reddit.
could do that. Little Reddit bang for us here. First, and I'm going to share the screen here in a sec. There's a little bit of lag, so bear with me.
Yeah, we'll blow that baby up.
Blow it up.
Boom.
Present. Try to share this bad boy. We got 5 of them for
Hold
you
on,
guys
Andrew has to
today.
get in his time machine to get his computer going.
Correct. If Alienware wants to sponsor us, I'd love a new laptop.
That is shameless. They're like, sorry, we can't even upgrade that.
Yeah.
Sir, that's not what we
That's
do
a-
here.
You were supposed to shoot at it 5 years ago.
That is the reason why the energy bill is so high in this building.
Most
Just
likely.
this one computer.
It's mine, yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
What the deal with blue belts? So I'm a 4-stripe white belt, and lately I have noticed something odd. Maybe it's in my head.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind I'm a small, older guy, 50 and a
Every freaking
every
time,
fucking post.
everybody's got to give their stats. They all, you know why? Because they're building their case. This is what's happening. I'm
Yep.
going to build my case to the court of Reddit with my stats, and then I'm going to portray the story as David versus Goliath,
correct.
young versus old,
Correct.
new versus experience, super nice versus super douche, super clean versus super stinky, super chill female versus creepy guy. This is like these themes, they just keep
Got to
coming.
give you some bona fides
Okay,
here,
sorry.
Reddit people.
Let's hear it.
50 and 155. When I roll at blue belts, many of them do this weird thing where they try and lock me down for the entire round. At this stage, I still get my guard passed, and I have to recover, which isn't an issue unless someone is holding on and squeezing as if their life depends on it. No action, no movement. Most of these dudes are 50 to 100 pounds heavier. Never white belts, never purple and up. Also not every blue belt, but I would say half.
Okay.
So already I'm noticing some issues with this. I'm starting to catch submissions recently on blues, so I'm wondering if these guys are scared to death of getting submitted by a small white belt.
No.
I, all caps, never
Listen,
get top position and just sit there. I mean never.
hold on. Stop. The middle paragraph that's called out amongst the sea of
Detritus.
evidence, that the whole post exists for that middle paragraph. Right? Can you highlight it?
Yes, sir.
The whole thing exists for this
For
point.
that.
I'm starting to catch submissions recently on blues. So I'm wondering if these guys are scared to death. And he's a 4-stripe white belt. So obviously
Yeah.
he's really fucking good.
Might need a
Right.
blue belt soon.
Yeah, let's go. Okay. I love you on Reddit. These are just jokes. Just chill.
I never get top position and just sit there. I mean, never. I'm looking for anything to progress. When I roll with brown belts, the movement is constant and the pressure is unrelenting where I feel like I'm constantly running. So in my head, that's the game. Are these dudes just scared of getting submitted? I get better rolls with the 120-pound women that some of these these larger blues.
No, I'm going to tell you what it is. You can't get out of their side control, and you're rationalizing it as you can't get out because they're squeezing you for dear life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What they're doing is they're applying the amount of pressure necessary to keep you in that position.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
As a blue belt who has done that, I tried to work on pressure.
As a black belt who has done that, it's totally normal to do because sometimes you're like, okay, I just passed this dude's guard.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I had to work,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want him to get it back because then I got to do it all over again.
Fucking work again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I mean, you want to
ridiculous.
like tire them out, cook them a little bit.
And plus-
I mean, I'm not saying stay there forever.
you're a
but,
garbage white belt.
Me or this guy?
Both of you.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm just kidding. You're not a garbage white belt. None of you guys are. It's great that you're training jiu-jitsu. That's all great.
I am a garbage blue belt.
Okay, let's see what else we got. What are some of the comments? Let's read the comments.
It just closed that page on me.
Internet training.
Reopen, close.
I'm gonna have you trade places with John real soon, dude.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would not blame you at this point.
Boom, 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 boom. Hold on. Just keep going.
I am going to move on to the next one if you don't mind.
Okay. Let's start. Whenever you're ready. On your go, Captain.
This comes to us from r/Aikido, a favorite of ours, a new favorite of mine. Thank you very much.
Oh, I love the Aikido board.
Me
Uh-oh.
too.
This is the time machine. Okay, let's go.
r/Aikido.
How to politely correct a
How do you
teacher.
politely correct a teacher? Hopefully there's some good answers because I need some.
As per title. Like, why would your title be anything else than what you meant?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to put an artistic movie title? Oh, teacher, where art thou?
Where are
Yeah, I hope they understand what I mean.
How do I...
How do I politely correct a teacher without coming off as an insufferable neckbeard?
Impossible because you're doing a keto, first of all.
Correct. And then in quotes, well, actually, push his glasses further on the nose.
Actually.
So I already know you're an insufferable neckbeard.
Okay.
In this instance, it was a Japanese word often used in Aikido, which he gave the wrong definition for. I kept my mouth shut on the mat, then had to run for another class, so didn't get to talk after class, but now it would feel weird to bring it up again because it would look like I've been obsessing over it, which I have, of course.
So I'm bringing it to the internet, to strangers.
Correct.
Strangers online.
Like,
To the Aikido board, no less.
Dude.
dude, who cares? You don't speak Japanese anyway.
He called it Inside Senkaku, and it was...
Inside Senjaku.
Yeah, he messed up.
Yeah.
JD. Yeah. Well, so what are the comments?
Just don't. It looks like an unimportant detail. Contrary to all appearances, Aikido classes are not for learning Japanese. It's probably the most rational thing I've ever seen on a.
Wow.
Aikido
He's getting nailed. Do you
7
have to
up,
be
though.
right?
It's-
Do you really have to be right? The moment has passed. Why were you on Matthew? What was the word definition? I was reluctant to post it in case of a definition war.
So you're not even sure.
Oh, no. I thought uchi meant on the inside, just as soto means on the outside. I was told uchi refers to the strike during the intermotion. Oh. Okay.
Well, let's see if somebody corrected him. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Ooh, somebody Google translated the actual characters. Look at that.
Both have the same pronunciation. Okay.
Different meanings. Aha. This might be where the confusion is
Oh,
coming
he
from.
messed up. He should have
Thanks.
put also.
Uchi means home. It's a strike delivered while you are in your home in thread.
Sick.
Nice.
This is awesome.
Uchi. He said Uchimata and it was Osotogari. And now I just can't let it go.
Yeah.
And I wrote him a letter,
Yeah.
7,000 words. I had ChatGPT write it in
In
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah,
right.
proper Japanese.
Just to
Right.
drive the point home.
Yeah, dude, let it go, first of all. Quit obsessing. And really, you should be, I'm upset that my instructor used the wrong word in Pig Latin. He didn't pronounce it right.
That would chap my ass.
in double Dutch. He said the word wrong, and now I'm pissed. Okay, let's go to the next one. That was
Also,
good.
also from Aikido tonight.
Yeah, it's a treasure trove.
This one kind of took me off guard a little bit because, like, we joke about the fact that
Riley just said this Reddit segment is rad.
Reddit. Have you ever used Aikido? Are you guys seeing this too?
Yeah.
Have you ever used Aikido in a sparring context? Now, I'm alarmed by the honesty of this question that he goes into. I know sparring competitions, etc., are very much against Aikido's philosophy and principles, but I'm really curious: has anyone ever used it in a sparring session? Have you ever used Aikido in a sparring context? Some people I know rent a dojo to do sparring sessions of Aikido. Only very often I'm really thinking about joining them. I of course acknowledge, respect, and understand that it is against the principles. But I sometimes wish, this is the sad part, I sometimes wish we could do real sparring where there's not specifically an uke or a tori. Just a match to learn how to efficiently use our techniques. I might think wrong though, but I'm still curious.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane from a jiu-jitsu context where
Yeah, it's totally insane.
what 99% of
Like,
it is practical?
Your first, my first class, I was sparring against somebody else.
Same.
Immediately. It's
Same.
like,
Yeah.
try to do what we taught
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm. Or at least drilling. You know?
Yeah. This is the same debate that this same post was in the Jiu-Jitsu forums 15 years ago, but it was, I don't know if I should be training no-gi. I know it's wrong and it's against principle, but I'm thinking of doing it with some guys that are renting a garage.
I
And they're
sometimes think I should.
I think I should. What did I'm curious what the comments were on this one.
So the first dude is talking about how there's been competitions for like 20 years or 50 years.
Duh, Steven Seagal has like 7 movies about it.
I might
Yeah.
be wrong, but I was told that like most martial arts don't spar, or not very often. At least not nearly as often as BJJ.
Okay, there's one answer for that. Deadly moves. Duh.
You can't really.
Yeah, you can't.
These moves are too deadly.
They're too dangerous.
So we can't practice them because you'll all be dead.
Yeah.
So we can drill them.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's better for you if I just don't do it on you.
I got a bad back.
You're gonna have a bad back if I do it.
Aikido is only a strategy represented by its techniques. Combat sense is only gained.
This
being
fucking guy wrote a haiku.
Fucking guy.
Combat. No, I'm going to read it in his voice. Correct.
Please.
Aikido is only a strategy represented by its technique. Combat sense is only gained being in a close to actual combat scenario. By use of reasonable attack with force and space control and disengagement, which will give you a definite consequent harm or injury when dealt with incompetently. This guy's a tool.
Ugh, incompetence.
Can you imagine the conversations this guy has with his wife?
That guy has
Wife?
drunk the Aikido Kool-Aid.
When I say wife,
You out of your fucking mind?
I mean his internet wife.
Oh, his waifu.
Yeah.
his chatbot wife.
Yeah. His
Miss Aikido.
anime body pillow.
Yeah. I know it's wrong. Oh, okay.
You got 2 more sentences, big boy.
Yeah.
I'd love it to hear it in that voice.
Without risk of death or injury forbid, combat sense will be instilled in your muscle memory. No, it won't. Combat sense. Look, listen to the sentence. Combat sense will be instilled in your muscle memory. That doesn't make sense.
I've got a couple friends that went to Iraq that would
Dude.
probably contest that.
How much combat sense do we have from training after every class?
We're probably like Buddha at this
Yeah.
point.
It's not in your muscle memory.
No, but I mean, according to
It's
this
in your,
guy.
it's in your brain memory.
Yeah.
Tim, I'm going to tell you one thing, and it's your ego should be aware and drive all this in order to survive.
That he got that last part from a fortune cookie. He got that from Panda Express. He should have
yeah.
signed it Panda. Panda E.
PX.
PX.
Yeah.
Sifu Panda.
PX 2000. Okay, do we got any more?
I have one from ninjutsu. I have 2 from ninjutsu,
Is this
actually.
traditional ninjutsu?
This is r/traditional ninjutsu because
Dude.
r/ninjutsu apparently doesn't exist.
I want to call it right now. I am the boss warlord of traditional jujitsu. I bet it. Does it exist? I bet it doesn't exist. And I own it now.
Okay. Trademarked here.
Yep.
Don't steal it.
There it is.
Traditional jujitsu. Okay, go ahead.
Nunjutsu.
Should I use my ninjutsu?
If
Now,
I'm-
see, I think he pronounced it wrong, but I don't know if I should tell him it's ninjutsu.
well, actually,
What
There's
is it?
ninjitsu and ninjutsu.
What's the diff?
When you find out, you let me know.
One of them, they all wear blue, and the other one
They all wear
wears
black.
red.
Oh, red.
Yeah.
Nobody has the black.
I thought you had,
No, that's the triads.
and that's Chinese, so they wouldn't know ninjutsu.
I'm not sure how an actual ninja can. What Riley's comment is, Spirit, I'll get to it when we go back.
Should I use my ninjutsu if I'm being bullied?
Isn't that the only reason to use it?
Well, technically, you should overthrow daimyos if they're being mean to their samurai and the peasantry. But
Oh, man, you are insufferable, dude.
Dude,
You're just as
time.
bad as these guys. Technically, you're saying you're
Yeah, that top-
Sumageishi.
that top that top comment is mine, actually. Use shurikens for long range attacks.
Reacting with violence will only make things worse. That being said, if they throw the first punch, you have a legal right to defend yourself. Just don't strike back unless they continue the assault. But as a commentator said already, it's easier to walk away. Is it easier, though?
Not if they know jujitsu.
Violence against bullies should only be used if others didn't work, like telling your parent, oh, is this a kid?
I don't know.
Okay, well, here's the Gracie bully-proof rules, and I actually agree with them. They're the 3 T's. And I taught them to kids. They're probably inappropriate now, but I taught them to my kids, and I taught them to the jiu-jitsu kids. And this was the criteria that we used for determining if it was okay to fight.
Okay. 3
It
T's.
was the 3 T's. You know this. Talk, tell, tackle. Those are the 3 T's.
Oh, I like
Nice.
that.
You talk to your parents, hey, or no, actually, I'm sorry. The first T was you talk to the person. You tell them, like, yo, don't do that anymore.
Right.
Knock it off. They do it again. Now you tell somebody. You tell your teacher, you tell an adult, you tell your parents, you tell the principal. They step in, yo, don't do this. They do it again. That's tackle. And here's how tackle works. You ask them a question. Are you challenging me to a fight? If they say yes, it's on like Donkey Kong, dude. You tackle them.
Just spear them.
And it was all control and negotiate. Those are the principles of bully proof. You control them and you negotiate. If I let you up, will you stop?
Yeah.
That's the negotiation. Okay.
Yeah, that's 2 levels of de-escalation, and then the third, recognizing a pattern.
Yeah.
So
And,
I'm behind
and if they
that.
say, no, I'm not challenging you to a fight, then the premise
What are we doing?
is that they'll back down then
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
So,
They must have mastered their
but a
ego.
refined bully will go, I'm not challenging you to a fight. And then as soon as you turn around, though,
They clock you.
and then you throw hands.
Right.
What if he was like, I also know ninjutsu?
Okay, let's see. Don't start fights. Be prepared to finish them. Violence really isn't
The answer.
only man. Okay, next one. Stealth tips.
This is my favorite one tonight.
Oh my God.
r/traditional ninjutsu.
Read it.
Looking for advice on how to be unnoticed, how to be, quote, blend into the background, I guess. I know it's not possible to actually turn invisible, but if anyone has any advice, put your headphones back on. Put them back on. But if anyone has any advice or places to start, it would be much appreciated.
This guy's already invisible. Nobody pays attention to this dude.
That's dark.
I don't know why he thinks that he is like.
You should
Mission
be
accomplished.
teaching.
Yeah.
Gray man. Look up gray man training. Okay, yeah. Be that dork. The guy that's got to wear the REI outfit everywhere he goes because it's beige or gray. I don't want to be noticed, and I have paracord on my wrist. And I'm sorry if I'm offending any jiu-jitsu guys, but dude, what are you doing? Like,
No, I have paracord on my backpack. I'm with you.
I get you're going to carry a pocket knife. You want to carry a gun. Okay.
Mhm.
But, like, you're making everyday life super stressful.
Mhm.
You got to be dressed a certain way to blend in. You
Yeah.
got to fucking have your tactical shoes on. You got to have your fucking baton, and you got to have your paracord and your tourniquet. Okay, if you're carrying a gun, then maybe you should have a tourniquet. But outside of that, it's like, bruh, come on.
Yeah. What's the point?
Dude.
What are we doing here?
All you got to do is come in, sideways guns. We got guns. Pop, 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 pop. Done, dude.
They don't want it.
And if someone steps to you, crack them with it, man. Bam. That's how the street is.
Yeah. That's how Tim grew up in the mean streets of Stockton.
yeah, let's hear it. One trick my teacher did was for us was the 60-second stalk, but with bells wrapped around our legs. Oh, wow. That's weird.
You learn quickly where noise comes from. Figure out if it's your heels, your clothes, or your foot pad. Good luck and
Gambate.
gambate.
Um,
Damn, dude.
Michael Jackson had the equivalent of tying bells around people's feet. He just had one of those 7-Eleven entry alarms whenever you went down his hallway and got near his room, and it was like, da-da, da-da. He's like, put away the Jesus juice. Put all the drinks away, guys.
Yeah, it was the drinks he thought of first.
We
not the
just hanging
kids.
out. Yeah, I don't know, man. Stealthy. I think wanting to be stealthy is fucking weird. Okay?
I feel like if that's like a priority of yours besides like rent, then
If I catch a dude trying to be stealthy, like
What are
I'm
you
at
doing?
Barnes & Noble and he tries to like jump across the thing real fast, I'm going to call him out quick. I'm going to be like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
there's a weirdo over in the poetry section.
Yeah.
I have no tolerance for weirdos that act that way around me in public.
I like this one.
What are you trying to be like blend into the
I
background
just-
for? Like
it's-
you're an assassin? Like who are you?
You're watching too many movies, man.
Yeah, you're a dude
course he's an
on
assassin.
our traditional ninjutsu or whatever.
First of all, you're
Yeah.
renting old movies, right?
Yeah.
This is VHS shit.
Yeah, he's rewinding them in the car rewinder.
It's my favorite comment so far. Have a clipboard and ask people if they have a minute to talk about the environment. I guarantee you will not. No one will notice you.
Oh, brother.
Oh, here we go. Super
this
serious
is
one.
insane.
The eye is attracted to motion, color,
Crouch.
things at eye level, and recognizable shapes. You break these 4 things up, and you will be as close to invisible as possible. Motion, move slow, move fluid, and don't move when they're looking. Color, solid black will stand
Wait,
out.
this guy said, "How can I be stealthy?" And he said, "Don't move when they're looking." No shit, dude.
Color, solid black will stand out. Match dark, muted color with the environment. In the city, this is a mix of black, gray, navy, and some white. In the woods, this is green, brown, black, and some tan. Study camo patterns and what they're good at and bad at. It's a whole science in itself.
Is it though?
I think the people that develop camouflage for hunters and stuff probably, but I don't think for
Right.
you or me
Right.
or this dude.
Here's the rule:
What's the rule?
if you're not carrying a gun, you don't get to be stealthy.
No.
You can't wear camo. If I was president,
Yeah.
camo is not only allowed for law enforcement and hunters.
Oh, but if you're not like
Military.
hunting-
If you don't have a firearm of some kind, or you're not gonna like track an animal and shoot it, you're just Joe Dickhead going
just
to
going
junior
the
college.
movies, yeah.
You don't get to wear that shit. No, no camo looking shit and no jail looking
Man, that's
outfits.
strong words for being in
No.
the South.
No, none of that, dude. Knock it off. Put on a proper pair of pants.
If you were president when I was in high school, that would have eliminated a lot of people who didn't hunt wearing camo.
If I
which
was
is cool.
president, I would make driver education necessary. I'd make everybody go back to driving school.
Okay.
And I would be like, we're going to fix the driving problem in this country
Once and for all.
once and for all.
Mm.
I would run on that platform.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not the
kinda-
deficit or
I think I could get in.
yeah.
I'm super charismatic.
Yeah, look at him. Dun, dun, dun,
I
dun.
would outlaw camping. That'd be out big
Dude.
time.
No camping, no
We can't
no
rehash.
camo, no outdoor shit.
We're putting hotels and resorts on all that land, man.
Yeah, the new
What are you guys
president,
doing?
President
Build,
Freeman.
baby, build.
President Freeman has forbidden outside.
Yeah. You got to stay inside. Mandatory air conditioning. Put on a button-down shirt, dress pants, and nicer shoes, and walk around the employees-only section of any place, and you'll look like you're on your way to talk to somebody. Everyone will ignore you, assuming you're not there for them. Okay, but is that stealthy?
No.
When I think of stealthy, I think of nobody even, like, you don't even make a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
Like, the camera catches you. That's not stealthy
Sure.
because they're going to
No.
see you on
Sure.
the camera. I don't know if you could be stealthy with all the cameras now. Like, everybody's on camera now.
Well, here's the thing.
Okay.
The paradox is, what are you being stealthy for? Like, and if what your goal is something that would,
I was going to bust you so bad, but you took a different direction. And
Yeah,
I feel
I'm
like a
not-
jerk, dude.
Yeah, no. I know what you're probably gonna fucking do.
Go ahead.
What I can't figure out is like, what are you trying to be stealthy for? And if the goal is to do something that you're being stealthy because if you weren't, it would cause some alarm.
Right.
If somebody realizes something happened, they would check the camera. Some kind
Or
of.
is this
trying
just like a LARPing game?
I think it's like I just want to post on here, and it's something I've been kicking around the noggin for a while. See what the boys in ninjutsu think.
I think that's a way to get your ass kicked by somebody in public.
I feel like if somebody was being stealthy at the bar, I'd be like, "What are you doing?
Like just a good old country boy, you're like sneaking around. He's like,
What are you up to?
"What are you doing?"
What are you doing?"
And then they'll just assign something to what you're
Come
doing.
on, this guy wears like a fedora and has a neck beard and probably was like 100 pounds.
He dresses
overweight.
like
This guy
Sherlock
is
Holmes.
not-
He smokes cloves out of a pipe.
yeah. This guy's not gonna.
My lady.
Yeah, that guy.
He writes
That's
letters
right.
to his future wife.
Dude, I
He
just
hasn't
love-
met yet.
Yeah,
I
this
know
guy.
it's-
You're already invisible, but like,
Yeah.
it's good.
I know it's not possible to actually turn invisible.
He put actually in quotes. No, that's actually. You don't have to quote it. That's actually. You can't turn invisible.
I feel like the quotes just make it seem like he's lamenting the fact he can't actually be invisible. It's like, is there a way I can?
I'm going to call Riley Rogers. I know he's got a scientific
He
mind.
wishes
can-
he had whatever invisibility cloak
Yeah.
from like Dungeons and Dragons.
Mix me
or some
something
shit.
up.
Yeah.
Mix a potion up in your kitchen.
Yeah. Do you have a salt packet that allows me to go in the girls' locker room without being noticed?
Yeah. I want to be invisible. That's a weird traditional martial arts has like a healthy ratio of weirdos.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's pretty high.
Where do you think that woo woo stuff comes from? And like Jiu-Jitsu never really got any of it. Like,
Yeah, because you got to roll.
yeah, that's what it is.
The
It's-
thing
it's
that-
the role.
The thing that people want to take away from it, the hardness of it, and the fact that like Joe Dirtbag can whoop your ass even though he doesn't believe what you believe politically, or he's just broke, or he stinks, but he can still whoop your ass. People have a super hard time accepting that.
Right.
So they would rather be like, oh, I'm this age and I weigh this much and I'm this belt and Joe Dirtbag's beating me up because he's doing this illegal thing. Go ahead and get on my side and make me feel good about what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're
You
saying.
can't hide from it.
Yeah.
I just saw Riley's comment, by the way.
What was it?
This is in reference to the being in ninjutsu and getting bullied, asking if it's valid to use it. Riley said, I'm not sure how an actual ninja can be seen long enough to be bullied.
Yeah,
That's a valid point.
how does a ninja get bullied?
Yeah.
That's like are you a ninja?
Are you even a ninja?
How do you become a ninja? Is there a governing body for ninjas? Like, do they have to take like a CPR class and get a background check like the IBJJF?
They got to get a shinobi certification.
Yeah, they have to do something like
It's INJJF.
INJJF.
you got to blow dart
National-
somebody, moving target. I don't know. I don't even know what that would entail. I would probably do it though if it was out there.
A book I read when I was a kid said that you got to be abandoned in the woods, and then they got to pick you up, and if you pass their trials, then you can become a ninja.
Yeah,
Imagine it's like some blood in, blood out thing where you have to like kill somebody to get in.
you think so?
I mean, how else could you become a ninja? You'd have to kill somebody.
How'd
Yeah.
the first guy become a ninja?
I think
They
Right.
dumped him in a wood somewhere.
Who dumped him though?
Some
Oh,
dumb
I
youngs.
know what happened. He promoted his girlfriend to black belt.
She dumped
John,
him in the
she
woods.
dumped him in the woods and promoted him.
John, can you get eyes on that? Who's the first ninja? Who's the first ninja?
Can you get eyes on that? I love it. Young John.
Young John.
Yeah, Reddit. I love Reddit and I hate Reddit, but I love Reddit at the same
love it
time.
too. Dude,
Love to hate it.
20 minutes every night. I read r/conspiracy before I go to bed.
Yeah. Okay, man. I think we've had a good show. Dude.
That was
We're-
the Reddit bang.
we're on it. Let's save the jujitsu secret knowledge culture discussion for next time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got some ideas I want to throw. I want you guys to think about them. If you're watching at home, send it to us. Just be like, yo, here's something that happened to me that I thought was interesting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, Riley made me think about it with the smothering. Do you have I don't think we talked about it. Do you have a favorite dick move?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the forearm crossface when somebody's trying hard to turn in and you just go crack and you just we used to say meet them, like meet them,
Mhm.
and then we would grab the gi, we'd have their collar, and when they turn in we just go pop and just crack them with it.
Damn.
You can do the same thing with no gi, but you have to get your fingers like under the armpit kind of and you just crack it. I like that. I like knee on belly grinding. Like
Yeah.
I'm good
It's
at
a good
that.
one.
Especially in a gi.
And then I have a special place in my heart which is a technique that I don't use, but I could, but I don't, which is the elbow and the thigh guard opening.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one a lot too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you, Omar?
The mother's milk.
Mother's milk.
Yeah. I don't consider it a dick move, but I guess some people do. Some pansies out there.
Yeah.
Well,
You mean waterboarding? Because that's basically what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tsunami choke.
If
As
it's good enough for Guantanamo, it's good enough for me.
That's right. Goddamn right. USA. As a student of Tim Freeman, I've become infatuated with wrist locks.
Ugh. God.
Love them.
Jeez. You too. You too. You too. Just.
I like
just
them.
I
me.
learned from watching you.
I know. I actually like doing it on somebody, even when I don't get them and they get in that indignant look, like you just tried to wrist lock me. That's enjoyable.
That is enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Jocko's Ezekiel choke.
What is that?
So Jocko does a thing where instead of putting the fist, the monkey paw, or the blade right on the throat, he will bring his arm all the way up to the trachea and then use his chest to push in.
Oh.
That's how he broke a friend of his neck on accident.
Oh, wow.
Fun.
Seems like a choke you would like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, Andrew. Okay,
Anyway.
make sure you check out Inside BJJ on Patreon. I just uploaded a step around armbar video with a bunch of options from how to hit that from side control. Check it out. It's like $5 a month. That averages about 50 cents a video. There's a bunch of videos. It's even less than that. But I try to put up like a few videos a month on there. And then there's some backstage content. I've been a little bit slow on that, ain't gonna lie. But I'll be throwing up more stuff on there. Check it out. Go to patreon.com/InsideBJJ. You can catch me on Subversive. So I got the Subversive gig for November, I want to say 22nd, 23rd.
Hell yeah.
In there.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
So that'll be happening. PGF's going to be before that. So that'll
Hell
be
yeah.
Where's Subversive going to be?
Rancho Cucamonga.
Oh, Rancho Chichamanga.
Yeah.
I'm out by. I know
That's
where
pretty
that
cool.
is.
go.
I know where that is.
Keep an eye on that. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Check out Mindworm on YouTube. That's Mindworm with a U.
Thank you very much. It's Mindworm Network on YouTube, at Mindworm on Instagram. I have a couple other things on there, but I just did my first podcast with Mr. Tim Freeman, and it was
It's
awesome.
really good.
Thank you
It's
again for sitting
really
down.
good.
It was a lot of fun.
Super good. You should
Thank
quit.
Yeah.
You should just do that one episode.
You want to come back?
7 million. It's just
Just
me.
every episode.
Every
Just
show.
every
podcast.
Every
Just
single show.
Me asking you about your upbringing.
And it's the same stories just over and over.
Over and over again.
That'd be great.
Got to sit down with you and talk about your upbringing and the really interesting aspects that brought you from where you came from to getting into jiu-jitsu and all that. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of it the other night, and
Thank
it
you.
was,
He's like, ball ring.
dude, no way,
Yeah.
not at all. I
I didn't tell the Chuck E. Cheese Armageddon story.
I'll have to have you back on.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Please check that out. And I think that's it, right?
I think that's it, man. Let's get out of here.
Alrighty. Thank you all.